Heyo guys, Pandy351 here, and I'm back. And I have a ton of stuff to go over, as you can see by all the tabs. Because, boy howdy, adults don't know how to be adults. And apparently, I morally, this is fucked. And my friends were involved, so I care. Also, I'm being brought into this in unique and interesting ways. So, yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff, as you can see. I do want to start off with a wee little something that happened a little bit. So, this is going to have, oh God, this is going to talk about Destiny. I will mess up and say Morgan. I will attempt to correct myself, so I apologize for that. This has to do with Goat. As much as I don't fucking want to talk about Goat again, we're not done there. I will try to use he, him. I was made aware that Goat uses more he, him now, so there will be an attempt on that there. I'll try the best I can. This is going to talk about Moon, Mute, Mids, the whole shebang, the whole crew, everyone. Everyone's a fucking creep, and I am starting to lose my mind. Oh my god. I want to start this video off with, I did notice something that happened a little bit a while ago. These. I want to discuss these. Apparently on Moonstraw page, they got a bunch of interesting comments. I want to make that clear. If you look at the comments that are made, based on their thing, they don't like me. Like, this isn't a person who likes me, because they keep referring to me as Mr. and Mrs. Irrelevant. Which I don't think this is correct, and I don't think this is correct either. I don't know. What I do know is that I just, want to throw it out there that, one, this has nothing to do with us. No one on the team has done this. Very clearly, this is a person who doesn't like me anyway. So there is pretty reasonable, suspicion to believe that this is not a party cub. Nor has a party cub of mine ever acted like this. If by chance this is, stop. Don't do it. I don't condone this shit. This is weird. This is creepy. I grew up in a cult. I was, traumatized, by a cult. So I don't, no. Just, no. I just, blatant statement, no. Don't do this. This is weird. This is creepy. Stop. Get some help, please. There is a potential that this may have been one of their group doing it. Not to make an accusation oh, they did it. There's a potential that one of their friends did this. Because nothing was ever said from this ever again. But just want to throw it out there that we make a lot of jokes here about cults and stuff, but I grew up in one. I've been more than traumatized by one. I think I'm good. Well, okay. So the main reason we're here is for a few things. Mostly it's to talk about just all of this. I'm gonna make it clear, this stuff is not in order. It is as in much chronological order as possible of when it happened, but there's some that jumble around a little bit. A lot of this is going to be a little bit all over the place and chaotic, because honestly, if I stay on one topic too long, I'm going to just fucking cry. So a lot of this is just showing evidence we have and going from there. So I want to throw it out there. This isn't 100% in order. I wanted to start off with some of Mid's blacklist. Specifically, and of course, this is the one part I didn't grab because I'm silly. Specifically, it was. Where is that blacklist? Oh my goodness, I can't find it. Well, in the last video, there was a bit mentioned about screenshots of an inappropriate nature being sent to a minor by me as proof. Oh, yes. Hi. Yep, you're totally right, Ness. Thank you for the correction. Before I continue at all, hey, if you're under the age of 18, I'm gonna try to keep this as safe as possible, but there's gonna be stuff in here that definitely is not safe for you. And so, huge viewer discretion is advised. We didn't even allow Flair to sit in for this recording because they are a child, and that would not be okay. So just big warning, there's gonna be a lot of big stuff. Continuing on, Midnight made a blacklist, which we're gonna talk a little bit about later, but there are specific parts I want to refer to here, which I don't have the screenshots for, but it is in the other older video. There was a bit speaking about the content that was shared to a minor. That was the proof that was given to someone else. And I just wanted to, like, throw it out there that, like, hey, if it was inappropriate for me to give to Circus, to give to someone else, even though Moon sent it with the intent of the minor seeing it, and I sent it with the intent of it just being shared to another adult, while not okay and not appropriate, and I do appreciate the fact that that was called out, because no, that's not okay. It shouldn't have happened, and I've already apologized to Circus because it was wildly inappropriate for that to occur. If it wasn't okay for me to send it to Circus, telling them not to look at it, but just to send it to the adult, why was it sent to a minor with the intention of a minor watching it? I just feel like a lot of this there's a lot of hypocrisy. Let's talk about the fact that they talk about the mass murders in my series and that making me somehow an unsafe adult. Nope, this is the wrong area. There we go. Hey, deaths of all kind. Murder. I'm pretty sure there's one here specifically for child death. No, I may not have the screenshot to that. But, like, just throwing it out there. Little bit of hypocrisy. Or let's talk about the fact that they said that it was bad that I have a character that, mind you, is supposed to be there to show that, one, you're not a bad person for being alcoholic, and you can get through it. And two, if you have abusive and alcoholic parents, that doesn't make you a bad person. Okay? These are things that they say were inappropriate for anyone under the age of 18. Let me throw it out there. Okay? I have at least knowledge of like 2 cast members who have had alcoholic parents since they were a child. Since they were a wee little lad. And have gotten to sit around and watch that for years and years. You're okay with being named? You're good with being named? Okay, Ness is one, who had to sit around and watch their parents drink themselves into, awful brawls where they hurt each other. And that is terrible and awful. Am I not allowed to show a character where Ness can relate to maybe drunk parents, where they are still a good person, even if they slip up? Is that not allowed? Should I not show the children who think that they're terrible because mommy and daddy fight all the time, but they never see any kids on TV with parents like them? Like, that's stupid. This is why this happens. This is why children are scared to talk to adults that, hey, my parents are drinking till they beat each other up. And I feel very passionately about that. Because I also didn't realize the fact that, like, hey, my father drank himself half of the nights until he started touching people. But I didn't think that that should be spoken about to anyone, because I never saw any characters that had to deal with that when I was young. And trust me, I took a lot from TV. I thought fainting was completely normal to do on a constant basis until I was like 20. Because that's what happens on TV. I just thought people just didn't talk about it. Like, there is real harm from the idea that that shouldn't be shown. That somebody who's struggling with an addiction, who's wanting to get better, shouldn't be shown. Like, that doesn't help anyone. That hurts people. But, you know, hey, you want to hang around with, like, Destiny and stuff, who's friends with, oh, what is it, Zero? Yeah? How about the fact that Zero has a character that's a child who drinks alcohol? I get that it's a robot, but if the robot is a robot child, it would be weird. It's weird when any of the weird Funtime art came out of Circus Baby, because it's a child robot. Like, it's beyond just being a child haunting a robot. It's just a child robot. Like, it's weird. It's fucking weird. Or, how about the fact that you're friends with someone who parades around the fact that they're drunk constantly? Because there's recordings of that. By the way, I just want to throw out there, I have a ton of recordings that I got a hold of some of the older content from Moon's channel with stuff on scene and behind the scenes. That a ton of it just has some really fucking vile shit that I haven't been able to get through all of it yet. Because honestly, it's revulsive, and SK has been absolutely amazing and been watching some of it to help out. But, like, even SK can only watch it for so fucking long. So here's another scatterbrained moment. How about you, Destiny? Let's talk about you again. Because, like, a while ago, you made a post about not wanting people to make jokes about a heart attack. Now, I'm not going to show the post, because it also has your medical and personal information about your family, and I'm not going to do that. It's not important enough for me to show. I don't really need evidence to show that. I have the screenshot. It does exist. I just don't feel it's right to show that. But how about we talk about the time that you, like, made a heart attack joke bad enough that one of the Pi members left the general chat we had at the time? Because you kept making jokes about not only my abusive father and his health conditions, which was wild and crazy, but the fact that you straight up were just making jokes about all of it. Like, just constant jokes. When, like, clearly the tone was very serious. I mean, hell, you made a joke about recording you if you had a heart attack or cardiac arrest. And then immediately when people were like, whoa, hey, that's not a cool thing for you to do, you immediately were like, I made a lot of people upset tonight. Like, this is manipulative. I even told you this was manipulative. I said this in the moment because I was like, that's not cool. And you just, I don't know. Yes, you did. Yes, you do. Oh my goodness. This is just, there were so many reasons why, you got kicked, Destiny. So many reasons. And, like, I don't talk a lot about them publicly, because, like, quite frankly, I don't like thinking about that time. But, like, How about the fact that you made several cast members uncomfortable and because you were constantly pushing alcohol amongst several minors in the cast? That thing that supposedly I'm the bad person for doing. I believe the two you would constantly joke with would be Ness and Mar. Specifically. I think sometimes Silent. Who were all minors at the time. I'm like 90% sure even Ness was a minor at that point. Because I think at this point I had started stopping it. Yeah, so Ness was a minor. So, like, you just, like, pushed alcohol along a ton of the cast members. A ton. And, like, hey, that's not really cool. And that's just a part of a whole bigger problem. But I'm the one who's hurt you. I'm the problem. And I'm having a time. All right, so on to a ton of screenshots with a ton of proof of a ton of things. Uh, okay, we're gonna go through these as quick as we can. So, here's one. Oh joy, oh joy. We get to talk about this. I love having my voice taken from me. So, here's the deal. Gotta love that Mids posted public details about my rape. Yeah, I said previously that they hadn't been spoken about because, quite frankly, I didn't want to bring any of it up. But sure, okay, let's talk about my rape. So this is my story to tell, by the way. And I just want you to know that the fact that you've said this publicly is an attempt to silence a victim's voice. Uncool, not okay, and I won't tolerate it. So let's talk a little bit about what happened to me. So, yeah, no, fun fact, most health classes actually talk, a certain amount about rape, especially to, like, teach that, like, it isn't okay, like, it doesn't have to just be a random stranger, it's usually someone you know, it can't even be a partner, something that I unfortunately didn't get being homeschooled, and something I don't think you got either, considering you're private schooled Mids. So, I don't really think you even 100% know what the hell is appropriate for 13 or not, especially since you're playing, not great games with adults. I don't think you have any clue what the fuck is 13 or not. So, but no, it is completely healthy and actually quite normal between, like, the ages to 13 to 18 to discuss at least vague and minor descriptions of stuff like rape. It helps others see rape and what has happened to them. It helps victims come forward. It is very important. And the fact that you feel the need to publicly speak about my details when I'm not ready to have them public um, is not okay. And we do have at least a confirmation from SK, as SK was in a private school, that they were also not warned about this stuff. So, like, I'm not surprised you didn't know, Mids. And I don't blame you from not knowing. I do blame you about not listening to a victim. Because as a victim, I have told you this isn't okay, and you keep continuing to, like, publicly talk about things. So, anyways, just gonna go ahead and throw out the misinformation. My youngest sibling walked in on me being raped. Absolutely, that did happen. Unfortunately, it was kind of the main reason why he was kicked out of the house, is because my sibling walked in on it. She had no idea what she walked in on. But quite frankly, yeah, no. Because I told mom about it later, because I got anxious about it, and mom was like, yeah, he's not allowed here, which is fair. I know me and Flicker both have went to public schools, and we were warned about the stuff in schools. There you go. There's Ness and Flicker, both confirmations that in public schools they were warned about this. But yeah, no. One wasn't fully naked. I feel like they're trying to throw that in to make it seem like I gave more details than I did. I didn't. That didn't happen. That's just not true. Glad to know they think that's true. But yeah, no, you're just throwing details to make it seem like I gave you more information than I did. That's just not true. They didn't get in trouble with their mom for this because while their siblings didn't see any parts, they saw that adults were doing adult things in her home with a child around. Yeah. So I got more so in trouble because adult things were happening in the home, which later turned into a whole other thing, especially recently. But it had nothing to do with my sibling walking in on me because she didn't see anything. But yeah, that's my story to tell, not yours. I'm glad that you felt I was ready enough to say this publicly because I sure as fuck wasn't. But I'm not gonna let you take my voice, bitch. It's just not gonna happen. I'm so genuinely mad and upset because like this is devastating. You were my friend. You may not have been the closest of friends because again, you're a minor, so that would have been inappropriate. Your friend group doesn't think that is, but it is. But no, you did still like conversations happened. All of them were completely appropriate. I don't have any minors of VCs to confirm. But there has been confirmations, at least from like 3 separate minors previously in the cast, that usually when I was about to say something inappropriate, usually something along the lines of, oops, I can't say that. Or I'd be like, hey, deafen real quick. Or I'd tell them to leave the VC while we chatted. Most of the time, if we had any kind of 18 plus conversations, it was said in the mute chat. We're going to get to a post a little bit later where Midnight was like, oh, you didn't go to the adult VC, which is true, it exists. After. It existed far later. It didn't exist for very long, so that wasn't a thing at that point. But I'm glad that you think that was, because it wasn't. Let's see. Oh yeah, you legit gave me details about your rape, that I gave no consent to be told. You were in a VC where I was already talking about it. I had said it in the chat that was what I was discussing. You joined. You are a minor. You can't give consent. I do understand that. But, like, I also can't. There's only so much I can do in that scenario. Sorry you told a child about your rape, even though they were non-sexual ones. Yeah, I did tell, someone who was under the age of 18, but above the age of 13, non-sexual details, which is completely appropriate, for that age range. 13 plus details. Giving a child any rape details is not okay. Nope. Actually, it is completely, healthy. It is actually, like, talked about quite frequently in most public schools because you stop situations like mine where I wasn't in a public school and I didn't understand. Oh, this was in middle school when it was talked about. 12 to 13. Well, that's why I say 13 plus. I'm not going to play around with 12. I won't play around with that. That's, no. 12 would be, well, you can't be a 12 and be on Discord. Unlike some other people who have lied about their ages in the past. But we're gonna skip past that. Even if I got minor details wrong, no, the details that you got wrong are the ones that make it sound like I gave a ton of very specific details. That's why I'm saying you got details wrong. That's why it's important. You still said publicly that it did happen. Yeah, I gave someone who was over the age of 13 plus details over a sensitive topic in hopes of using that to educate them further. I'm allowed to do that. Yep, that is 13 plus. Insinuations of stuff are completely okay on YouTube for the 13 plus section. So, yeah. It may not have been the best to share publicly, but it's not like I didn't put a trigger warning to the text. Yeah, but it's still public. You can't be like, well, but I put a trigger warning to the text. But yeah, but it's still public. Plus got called a fucking 5-year-old for not being able to handle the word rape. Okay. This seems to have really upset you, Midnight. And I want to apologize that that joke was made. It was a joke. It wasn't a great joke. And obviously, it wasn't taken very well. The reason that we described you as a 5-year-old is because we were explaining the difference between the fact that a 13-year-old being given 13 plus information and a 5-year-old being given 13 plus information is vastly different. That you were acting like you were 5 when I gave you 13 plus details, because that would not have been appropriate. But I gave you 13 plus details when you were 13 plus. I want to throw it out there. I do apologize that you took that wrong. It was our attempt to explain things. I understand why that could have been hurtful. And I just want to blanket that out there. You're almost 25 and you're trying to turn it on me, even though you told me details of your rape. Yeah, this isn't turning it on you. This is you. Okay. We're going to explain Darvo for a second here, because these people don't know what the fuck that means. I'm going to pull it up here in a separate tab so I can pull it from the interwebs. Just so I make sure I get this 100% right. DARVO stands for deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. Denying that you did something wrong, attacking the victim, and then turning the victim into the offender. By now making me the victim of rape, who spoke about 13 plus totally appropriate details with you at an appropriate time, you now making me the bad guy. Yeah, you are the bad guy. You can't suddenly just turn this on me. Like, that's reverse victim and offender. This is Darvo. This is wrong. Details that burned into my mind when you told me. Well, apparently fucking not, because you got it wrong. But no, you joined a VC where it was said that that was what we were talking about. You treated me like a fucking child for trying to give you respect not to say what you said. Yeah, because it wasn't your details to share, but cool. I never wanted to share it. I'm sorry, you posted it fucking publicly. Yeah, that's wanting to share it. When a person I am accusing calls me a fucking 5-year-old, I want to point out that I accused them first. I pulled out the fact of the screenshots and the receipts that Moon is a pedophile, that Midnight was going along with it. So I want to, blanket address that I was saying there was victims, that I was a victim, and then they started attacking me, and this is me making a statement back. You didn't start this. I mean, you did start this when you decided to start shit talking behind my back, but, this whole I made the accusation. No, I made the accusation, and your defense is to say that I explained rape details that were inappropriate. I want to make it clear. I made the accusations first. That was your defense. Calling me a 5-year-old for not saying anything and claims that they never said anything more than it was rape. Yeah. No, it probably wasn't great that was all I said. But, I kind of was hoping that you'd get the hint that was, not a topic that should have been touched. Because that wasn't appropriate to touch. But hey, live and let learn. My bad for wanting to keep my rape private, I guess. I don't know why they thought this was appropriate, but off we go. Let's see. You did not state you were venting, and even if you did, right, why were you in Pi where children could join you talking about details of your rape? You have an adult section of Pi, no minors can join. You neglected the fact that you were around kids and are taking no accountability for it. No, I'm not taking accountability for something. That's completely fine. It is appropriate to talk about 13 plus topics with 13 plus people. I don't get what they're not understanding. I don't. Goes on for quite some time. I'm showing it as proof of this fucking nonsense and them defending themselves over sharing details of my rape publicly. But this is a point they continue on for quite some time. You did not state you were venting, and even if you did, where's your proof? Where's your proof that I did not say I was venting? I have proof of the millions and millions of times I've definitely said I was venting about things. And to not join unless you're an adult. Why were you in Pi where children could join talking about details of your rape? Because Pi is my private server and I'm allowed to be where I want? I gave a warning. That's all I need to do. You have an adult section. I mentioned this before. I didn't at the time. I didn't. I just didn't. It didn't exist until... God. Oh dear God. It didn't exist until... Cheese and crackers. It definitely would have been before... No, it was like much after some of the big issues that were happening. God, I don't know when it was. I know it was after, because I know it was after the chats were made, that we were talking about things, that we were sending links that we didn't want any of the kiddos to see. I know it was after a lot of stuff. Yeah, it was like maybe a year ago. Like maybe less than a year. And we've been friends for much, much longer. So, no. I mean, you don't have any proof about it. So, like, I don't know what to tell you. No proof. I mean, all of this is just no proof. It's a lot of hearsay. The only reason, like, there's any form of anything is the fact that I did confirm that 13 plus topics were talked about around 13 plus people. Like, you didn't even show proof that that conversation even happened. But of course I'm going to confirm it because I'm not going to lie, unlike the rest of you. And the proof they supposedly have, no one else can see. Yeah, well, because it's not proof. The fact that it's very clear that you don't understand how you fucked up speaks volumes to me. I'm no saint for sharing information. I was literally called a liar for not giving evidence. You still didn't give evidence. You just posted details of my thing publicly. You gave no evidence. When it comes to 18 plus games, they aren't just sex, right? Yes, I am aware. 18 plus games can be for any maturity content, which includes gore. Yes, that is correct. I believe that Slay the Princess has no sex or sexual themes. It's just graphic gore and stuff. I do think it does have some sexual tones in some of them. I could be wrong. But you're right, that does just have gore. Something I happily talked about that was shared a lot of content for, but that's apparently terrible to do. Yes, it is bad for an adult to share that. Especially, when it is an 18 plus thing. They were made aware that it was 18 plus and have not shared it with any more minors beyond that. There's a difference, though. Moon knowingly sent 18 plus content to a child. Like, you being sent something without there being an awareness that was 18 plus is vastly different than someone who has acknowledged a game as 18 plus publicly and still send stuff. Like, Flickr not knowing doesn't change the fact that Moon knew and sent stuff. All you're doing is trying to point fingers everywhere else but yourself. And that's all they do, by the way. Though we're going to continue on. These screenshots get fucking awful, so hang tight, we're going for a ride. Oh yeah. How about the fact that, like, Day Night made a huge deal about, like, their name being put publicly when I took a screenshot of their username at the time and they didn't like that? But they had no problem sharing a minor's, like, age publicly. Also, I like how they use their proof in air quotes when this is literally just like, yeah, this is 18 plus content. I mean, I know the reason why, because they're trying to be like, oh, well, it's just screenshots and out of context, so it's fine. I'm not going to show it because YouTube would literally kick my ass. But if you are an adult, you could probably go look up the videos that were sent, and you can tell me whether or not that should have been sent to a minor. Oh yeah, this whole thing happened where they were being like, make a Google Doc so I can, so that I can, it would be easier for me to respond to things. One, no, I don't have to make shit easier for you at all. Like, the victim doesn't have to do anything for the abuser to make it easier. No. 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 The videos are more than enough. They work all the same. Deal with it. Also, yeah, a lot of the content is too bad to be put in a video because genuinely I know minors will still watch it, which putting it in a Google Doc would do no better because I know you will show it to minors. Which is my reply. And their reply was like, oh, I also mentioned that some of it wasn't my info to share. Some of it. Some of it was not mine to share. Some. But apparently they like just missing words. You think I was the one who was dyslexic? No, I think secretly they've been dyslexic this whole time. Because if it isn't your info to share, why did you share it in the first place? Because I was allowed to share the info I shared. I thought you were doing this to be informative. I did. Isn't it the best course of action of creating an accusation to share as much information as possible? I did. Including the most damning things you have? Yeah, no. Because the most damning things I have can't be shown publicly to minors. But, yeah, you know, it's fine. That's, you know, whatever. I genuinely, I just think you want to share more stuff to minors. Like, that's all this sounds like at this point. And I'm just so done. How am I meant to believe or confirm or deny anything? You don't have to believe jack shit. You don't have to believe fucking nothing. I don't have to prove myself to you. None of the minors who have been hurt have to prove themselves to you. I don't know why suddenly this became, well, you have to prove your point to me. No, I don't. You're right. This is about educating others. Clearly, you as the pedophile is not going to agree with what's on the document because you don't want that public. Like, you are handling this respectfully far poorly than I have. Oh, really? How about the one who just really hasn't talked about it publicly and has had minors defend them this whole time? I'd say that's pretty poor. Oh, but, you know, he's like, oh, well, the minors aren't really, I didn't send them. That's literally what Tater said. Like, I'm gonna throw this out there. Literally the arguments I had with Tater. And Tater was wrong. So guess what, buddy? You're wrong too. I don't know why you can't see that. Regardless of if a minor sees the proof that you say you have, wouldn't it be better for the minor not knowing the proper extent, than the minor not knowing the proper extent of the crimes? Making them aware is safer than keeping them in the dark. Realistically speaking. No, I really don't feel like sharing 18 plus content with minors. I know you like doing that, but that's not, I don't. My doc I made with Tater was as informative as I could make it. Yeah, you're right. Maybe you should read that document, honestly. Because, holy shit, I read over it again. For the sake of making this video at some point, I read it over twice. And a lot of the things in there seem awfully familiar. And I'm just saying, maybe read over what started. Maybe look over what Tater did again. Maybe look over what Story did. A lot of these things seem to be patterns that keep happening. It's very strange. Like, at least when I deal with pedophiles, they don't seem to, like, have the same pattern in quite the same way, but like you really seem to have like a pattern. And like, I'm not gonna lie, bit concerning. Kind of hypocritical for you to say it wasn't your info to share when you talked about private vent posts made by me and Pika and shared them both in full in your videos publicly. That also wasn't your info to share. Yeah, because they're meant to prove a point. Little bit of difference. Because you're the abuser, not the victims. The victims have rights to privacy. Quite frankly, you don't, because you're not a victim. I can see why you might have gotten a little confused there. Then there's this person. We're going to talk about this person later. They come up a little bit later. But I was wondering how she even got the screenshots. She says it isn't stalking, but it seems a lot like stalking to me. It's not. Or it is. If it is, then why are they doing it too? Like, it's not. That's why I'm not claiming them of stalking, because they're seeing my post just as much as it's all public. It's not. But like, hey, you want to call it stalking? That's totally fine. But like, I just want to know why what I'm doing is stalking and what you're doing isn't. Like, I haven't called you stalkers, but you love calling me stalkers. But hey, you know, if you want to prove it's stalking, take it to the police, go for it. I would love to speak to the police about how you're accusing me of stalking after I gave tons of evidence of you sending inappropriate shit to minors. I'd love that, honestly. That'd be great. Ma'am, I have you blocked on everything on my singular account. I do too. On all my other accounts on all other sites. Hey, I do too. I'm simply being shown your posts without even asking to see them, literally just being shown them. Your proof is where? Like, I mean, I could say the same thing. You're just going out of your way to evade my blocks with Clear Sky and alts. I have used Clear Sky. It's mostly just to see who's got me blocked, so that I can see if any accounts of theirs pop up that I can reblock, honestly. But just like, want to throw it out there. It's just, it's fine. I get it. I just want to know why what you're doing isn't stalking, but what I'm doing is stalking. Because I have you blocked on every account, and just saying, well, I'm being shown the post. I am too. I don't have to ask for them. I get shown them just as much. That doesn't change anything. I mean, you can tell this is literally light mode. I would never, in my 9 lives, use light mode for anything. I've always used dark mode. So, like, why? Why is that? What? I feel like you might be a bit confused. Stop twisting my words. I'm not twisting anything. You're literally saying it. You're so upset that I'm possibly doing it, yet you're doing the same just to make assumptions with no proper basis. I mean, I have screenshots. Yes, you do owe me the evidence. No. No, I don't. It's accusations against me. You're right. I mean, I don't owe you the entirety of the evidence. I owe you enough evidence to show that I'm correct, which I did. You also owe it to your fans and the people you claim to protect, which I did. I never sent an 18+ link. I sent her videos of a game I sent her videos of a game, right? Can we go back? Where is it? No, we'll find it here. Hang on. We'll find it. I sent her videos of a game. Let's see. 18+ fandom. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at that. Class of 09. 18+. So, yes, you sent her a link to an 18+ game. She was not forced to play. She was. But I do think forced to play may have been you may have used it to mislead. Um, you asked her to make choices in a game, and you had a tendency to peer pressure her, and you did. She made a choice, and then you told her what the outcome of that choice was in an 18 plus game. So while I understand why forced may have been confusing to you, you did manipulate a minor into making choices. She was just in a call and engaged on her own volition. No, she didn't. She doesn't like those kind of games. I've even found like safe those kind of games and have been told by her she does not wish to participate in those kind of games because they're not her forte. I'm pretty sure Flair might be Arrow Ace, but that's a whole separate conversation. Like, just throwing it out there that, like, no, you peer pressured her into making choices. You had a tendency to peer pressure her into doing things. There is a fuck ton of videos that prove so. Literally look at any of my streams where Moon and Flair are in the same place, and it literally happens constantly. Or like the pie videos, where that also tended to happen a lot. Like, it happened a ton. Not even a silly, goofy amount. It just kind of happened. But, you know. She was on a call of her own volition with extreme warnings. I highly doubt that. Considering she didn't even realize the link that was sent was bad until she asked me about it. But that was much later. With extreme, if you bother to do research on the game itself or read the title of the video, the clips are out of context. Ah, I see. Right. So if you take a picture of porn and send it to a minor, that's okay because it's out of context. Listen to yourself for like 2 seconds. Like, you just openly admit to sending an 18 plus game to a minor. And yeah, what? The game is immoral. Yes. The game is immoral. It has Nazi jokes. It has rape jokes. It makes light of pedophiles. But it never said those things were good ever. No, but it being exposed in that degree to a child is not great. It's why it's 18 plus. One of those games that is used to show that things like that are fucking awful and should be considered shouldn't be considered positively in the slightest. You're right. There are games made like that. That's why Autumn exists. It's meant to show that these things aren't positive. But the game is rated 18 plus for a reason. Yes, it's meant to show that those things aren't positive. But it's also not meant to be seen by minors. There's a way you can talk about those topics without literally parading it on display. I don't see how it's confusing that while some of it could have been yours to share. Again, my personal events and posts of minors were private, were not. Yep, but you're the aggressor, so this is a lot of Darvo you're spitting here. Again, Darvo is reverse victim by making you guys, oh, look, I had my personal information shared. I'm the victim, even though that personal information was literally like you being shitty people. You don't know. You don't get that. You don't get privacy when you're being creeps. Like, technically, you could argue that the privacy in between Flair's DMs and moves were private. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't, like an adult, or other adults shouldn't have been told that Moon was interacting inappropriately with a minor. Like, that's not how privacy really works once, like, no, you're bad. And this isn't, oh, suddenly I'm bad, therefore it was bad for you to share this. No. I'm attempting to handle this calmly and restricting. Why not talking about it at all? I'm not trying to paint anyone as anything, but you're letting your friends do that. I'm just saying, like, you're letting all the minors do it. It's not keeping an eye on someone if I have blocked you everywhere. Oh, like, it's not for you, or any, like, mids, or any of that, right? I have IP blocked you. You have. I have stated I want nothing to do with you. I don't want anything to do with you either. Making alt accounts and finding outside resources to view me and my posts is legally considered stalking. Well, please, if you feel that that is something you want to charge, go to the police. Go for it. It has been, and I never called you on it before. Yeah, so, like, you have done it for years as well. I'm not gonna say, no, it's not stalking, because I don't know quite where the legal line is on any of this. I just know for a fact that if it makes me a bad person, then, like, you're literally doing the same thing. And all of this just undercoating the fact that Moon's entire argument for why they're not a pedophile is so far been, yes, I sent a link of an 18 plus game to a minor, but it's out of context. And because I'm keeping an eye on their accounts, that somehow makes them not a pedophile. If I'm a bad person, cool. I might be a bad person. That doesn't change that you're not a, like, that's what, I know that's what the attempt is here. I know that's what Mids and you and all the others are attempting. The attempt is to make me look bad so that you don't look shitty. I know this manipulation tactic. I've been there. But it's not going to work. It's just not. Because people are smarter than that. And I can't believe that you think people are that dumb. But hey, we're going to continue on with a bunch of stuff. The character theft, right? We get to talk about this. So I tend to make characters inspired off of others, especially when they've done terrible things to me. Some of it's coping, mostly. They're not very obvious ones. Unfortunately, there was a few that were a little too obvious, so we're going to talk about those. But I want to make it very clear that, yeah, art theft isn't cool. But also, no one owns color palettes. So with that being said, we're gonna continue on. So this is the first one. I'm not gonna zoom in on all of them because I just don't want to do that. But here's the first one. As you can see from these two characters, yep, they happen to be the same species. Get them, boys. I'm done for. I've committed a felony. Whether these two characters are even inspired off each other, I'm allowed to have a bat cat. The other one's a bat dog. I'm allowed to have a bat cat if I want one. Oh no, they have the wings under the arms, just like I do to all my birds. And bats. It's got little wing things on the tail. That's something it doesn't even have on the original design. But yeah, no, these aren't similar at all. Maybe you could stretch out that it's got space theme on the arms, so therefore it's similar, but like, we got this one. This one was color picked. Again, I want to just throw it out there that you don't own colors. But when it was talked to me that these were too similar, I did take these down. This character was made totally separate of these ones. This one was more inspired off of, like, Spring Bonnie, like my Spring Bonnie and Golden Freddy, or Golden Fredbear, not Freddy. So, like, just want to throw it out there. This character had nothing to do with that. And so I'm glad that you own all spring locked colored characters now. Let's see. This one in particular, yeah, so this one was inspired off of the Minecraft portal. I don't think you own the colors for the Minecraft portal. Just throwing it out there. And again, you don't own colors, so it doesn't matter. There are a few similarities because they happen to be a panda. I made cheeks that were spirals because I thought it would be silly. Because I like the whole hypnosis vibes. And they have floaty heads because I like floaty characters. I can show you a ton of my characters that are floaty. have like the floaty parts. The arms are floaty and the legs are floating, something that one doesn't have. It's got this weird like paint splash pattern that mine clearly does not have. Mine very clearly has like portal swirls inside of it, one that yours does not have. There's a lot different between these two designs. Inspired, yeah, that can be argued, but stolen, nope. This one, hey, yeah, so this one was one I made. This is one of my adopts. This little hand puppet, one of my
I
fucking
made
adopts.
it. I drew it.
Yeah. Oh, by the
didn't, like,
way,
make it, I drew
I
it.
just want to throw it out there that any of the artists whose art was used in this post, by the way, did not have permission at all to have their art shared. I'm saying that because we're gonna get further down the line at some point, and I just like want to point that out that none of them had permission to have their art shared in any of this. So yeah, this is a character that I made. That was like one of my adopts. Yeah, the cow was a little too close. We tried to make something inspired off of it because I really liked the idea, but honestly, it didn't come out very well. And then when it was pointed out that it was too close, it was like, cool. But like, reminder, again, you don't own color palettes. I want to stress that you don't own color palettes so much that the color palette used to make this adopt is a public color palette. Anyone can use this. Like, go for it. Take the colors. It's public. It's a public one I got. Saying, but again, when it was, like, hey, this is really close, I was like, ooh, yeah, you're right. That is really close. I'll just remove it, even though honestly it's just a fucking cow. But, there's this one. By the way, you don't own colors. Colors, I never agreed to a TOS where color picking was acceptable. I've made that very clear. Actually, it's really funny. A lot of them seem to keep pushing the fact that it was on their TOS, so it meant I agreed to it, which is not. I literally have DMs with some of the people being like, hey, just by the way, I don't agree with this. And then they let me have adopts anyways. But yeah, no, this was taken off a character that Ness owns. Ness owns the rights to this character. And so Ness made a character based off of it because I really liked the colors. And when it was brought to me that they didn't like it, I was like, hey, it's all good. And I made a new one. That didn't use those colors. I used the outline just with completely different colors. So I just want to like throw it out there. That every time it was brought up to me that there was an issue, it was fixed. There's this one. This one's very silly, right? Okay, so hear me out. This one is an AU that I owned, and I made a character based off that AU. The AU design that I owned. I owned the AU design. So yeah, I'm allowed to color pick off the AU design. What are you talking about? This is crazy. This also gets used down here as well. Yeah, this was based off of the AU design. I'm allowed to color pick off the AU design, which I own. This is Event Sona. I have no part of this. This is mostly Flickr. I do want to point out that they went off about there being religious implications of the third design. And that because the person is atheist, it's not okay for there to be anything religious in designs based off of that person. Which, like, I would understand if it wasn't for the fact that their main Sona is literally an angel. Like, the religious imagery is they have wings. I didn't realize that wings were religious imagery. Somebody tell birds. Somebody tell the birds that. Somebody tell Pegasus that. All the Pegasi need to get out of here because it's all religious now, guys. Are you talking about the robe, the cloak? That's been used for a lot of fucking things that weren't religious. Some of it very awful, some of it very good. So I don't think that either. But yeah, no, he has a Sona that has wings, hence the wings. Um, so I just like want to throw that out there that is, it's not meant to be religious implications. It's just he has characters with wings. Um, but again, another one, not even similar, completely different animal. You could see some inspiration. Oh no, they both have space patterns on them. And again, apparently there's religious based imagery because it has wings and a cloak. The cloak doesn't make it religious. I just want to just throw it out there. And then there's these. These just you can tell the inspiration on the first one, but not the same. Clearly. The second one, oh no, it's a fox. Guys, it's a fox. Oh no, we're not allowed to have any fox women now because if you have a fox woman, it's too close.
Oh no, Autumn.
Yep, Autumn. No, this one's a copy then because Autumn definitely came before this one. So, sorry, mids. You have to get rid of your character now because Autumn exists. That was a joke, by the way. Completely a joke. That's fucking stupid. I just want to throw it out there that that's fucking dumb. It's stupid and trash. And then they showed off this art, which they were 100% told that they did not have permission for this. The artist was told about this stuff, by the way. They changed it knowing that Mute was dating a pedophile. And they changed it because and they agreed the design was different. So yeah. But they actually deleted this post shortly after because the artist did reach out to them and tell them they didn't have permission. And apparently they could delete that when they didn't get permission, but all the other people they didn't get permission from, they could just post, but whatever.
I didn't give permission for them to post the AU art of a character.
I sure as fuck didn't give permission for my character to be posted.
Exactamundo.
But then there's this, right? So Knight made a huge deal about us reporting characters and art. And SK being the one who reported stuff. Just want to throw it out there.
Nothing.
that it was in fact Moon who made the ticket deal with stuff. I didn't do SK didn't do shit. I don't know why SK is being thrown into all of this. SK just pointed out, hey, this art looks like yours. But yeah. Right back to oh no, alright. So we get into the stuff that I cannot believe I get to say. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this pedophile has met a minor in public. Right. So after all the accusations about, hey, maybe this person's a little bit of a creep, Destiny. Look, we used to be friends. And I want to make it clear, I don't really like you. You've not been very nice. You've never really apologized. In fact, you've made things worse a lot. And you've made a lot of friends with a lot of really bad people. And I don't really like you. However, I don't hate you. Hate is reserved for very specific people. I don't hate you. And quite frankly, I don't want to see you hurt. There is no world in which I wish harm upon you. I wish that you'd leave me the fluff alone. I wish that you didn't have any kind of impact on my life, because what you did really fluff and hurt. But I don't wish harm upon you. I don't wish you to not exist anymore. Honestly, if it wasn't for going through some of the terrible things I did, I wouldn't be where I was or where I am now. I wouldn't have learned so much. So, like, Destiny, please. You're under the age of 18. I'm not gonna say your age, but you are at the very least older than 13 enough to know that meeting up with an adult in public is a terrible idea. Even if nothing bad happens, it's bad. But I think we can all come together to agree that there is no context, because apparently I'm just missing the context. There is no context in which a child, a minor, should be meeting up with an adult in any setting. Private, public, doesn't matter. It just shouldn't happen. But here you go. This was the start. We saw the I planned for a meetup, and I was like, oh, that's kind of strange. And then Moon posted, I scheduled a meetup, and I was like, oh, I really hope they're not meeting each other. We're gonna go back to that, because then a bunch of this stuff got posted. I'm gonna try to make this as clear as I can. It seems apparent, as it seems, it apparently wasn't / was skipped over, and read further into it than it needed to be. I am taking my time to respond. I am taking said time to calmly respond, respectfully, go over everything and respond accordingly. Uh, it's been like, what, 3 months now? 2 months? Yeah, it's getting about 2 months. Very shortly. And you've said fuck all, except for the fact that it was totally fine for you to send an 18 plus game link to a minor because it was out of context. And by the way, I just want to throw it out there, because if you watch this far into the video, then like you're actually like paying attention. A lot of what this group does is they take a lot of what I say and they pick on it. Like, they take specific points and they're like, well, you said this one thing wrong, so your whole argument is invalid. Like, there's not totally still screenshots of you sending A2 plus content to a child. So I kind of wonder how many times they do that for this video. I'm curious. At this point, month and a half to 2 months. Yeah. So I just want to throw it out there that their whole way of like arguing that I'm wrong is just taking small points and nitpicking it, because we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I'm taking my time to respond, and I am taking said time. I already read that. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I have no intention of invalidating everyone's feelings or ignoring anything, but you are, and you have. I am simply and quickly addressing a handful of things that were not that big on my list of importance. I think everyone is allowed to be, and that includes me. No. No, you don't get rights for being a creep. No. That includes my friends, that includes the accusers. But I think that if you want your argument to be as compelling as possible, you have to pull all the evidence forward. Otherwise, I genuinely cannot apologize for all I am seeing. I don't want. Okay, this was said, and this is kind of what I think. Because I've been in this situation. The way that I grew up, my father would work based off a script. He would apologize for things when you told him, but couldn't promptly apologize to things. You aren't getting a fucking script, buddy. You aren't getting a script from me of here's what you have to do to make everything fucking perfect. No. It is not my goddamn job as a victim. It's not the job of any of the fucking victims to have to tell you every single little thing you did wrong. I shouldn't need to tell you that sending 18 plus content to a child is incorrect. I shouldn't have to tell you every single little time you just so happen to send 18 plus content to a child. That shouldn't be needed. You should just, the fact that you can't remember all the times you've done it leads me to believe you've done this a lot. Like, you've sent a lot of inappropriate content to a lot of children, and you don't know where to start. I didn't know about half of this. What do you mean you didn't know about half of this? You sent it! It was entirely out of the blue for me and equally as alarming. Yeah, you're telling me. You're telling me. One day I'm minding my own business talking about my friends, and then suddenly another friend of mine comes up to me and says, hey, these people who you think are your friends have decided they're going to leave you and never speak to you again. And I'm like, whoa, hey, that's crazy. They're talking shit behind my back? What the hell? That's not really cool. And they're like, yeah, it's wild. And so you were kicked. And then suddenly, I have a friend send me a message saying, hey, yeah, person you kicked, I have something. Because minors tend to be scared to talk up about adults when the adult's still there. It's fucking wild. You didn't even bother to say anything about it to me, just a simple we thank you. Yeah, I didn't bother to say anything about it to you. Cause, hey, I didn't even know about the fact that you sent 18 plus content to a child. I didn't even know about that. I just knew that you were talking shit behind my back. Was all I received from anyone. Shit, I got nothing from some. You never asked or considered my side. What is there to consider? I'm like, yes, Moon, please tell me about why it was appropriate for you to send 18 plus content to a child. After, by the way, you were already planning to leave. I just want to throw this out there that both Mids and Moon seem to be completely ignoring the fact that they planned to leave already and were kicked for talking shit behind my back. They weren't even kicked for the pedophile stuff. This is literally exactly what happened for Star. You acted like an asshole, I kicked you, and a minor came forward saying, hey, by the way, really bad shit happened. I think the worst part is that you keep saying that we were friends. We were friends. Friends talk. They sure do. We did not. No, you didn't fucking talk to me. You didn't talk to me at all. In fact, we had several conversations about me pleading for you to speak to me about anything that was happening because you wouldn't work on anything. You wouldn't hang out. You wouldn't have fun. There was nothing. And somehow that's my fault? It's my fault that I'm the only one that could reach out ever? Like, sure, sometimes you'd send me memes and shit, but what am I supposed to do? I'm sitting here, you're saying that you can take on stuff, and I'm telling you, hey, you have a ton of stuff that you haven't worked on, and I'm worried you're taking on too much. And you keep saying, hey, no problem, don't sweat it. And then suddenly I'm the bad guy that you had too much to do. You're right. Friends talk. I did. Constantly. And then suddenly I find out that you're talking behind my back when you finally are talking. Your talks with me were beatdowns. You made me compliant and my feelings were not once considered. I did make a post about this. If you refer to beatdowns to make you compliant as me having conversations with you of, hey buddy, you're an adult and you're acting inappropriately when you allow people in your server to make school shooting jokes. Or, hey, bestie, you bully Flair a little too much. You've literally, pushed her to the point of crying on a few occasions, and you also can't call her a crybaby when she's being abused by her father. If that's beatdowns that made you compliant, abso-fucking-lutely I did. Yeah, I had talks with you where I was like, hey, you're not acting appropriately. The whole thing is, oh, friends talk, but you didn't talk to me. Yes, I did. On several occasions, I said, you bully Flair too much. You pick on Flair too much. You need to stop picking on everyone. You can't be calling Midnight a whore. People are uncomfortable. If you're gonna do that, it better as fuck not be around other people. Although, really, you shouldn't at all. Like, if any of those are, like, what you're talking about, you're right. My feelings were never once considered ever. No, they weren't, because you're an adult. And you can't bully a minor and then suddenly be like, but you didn't consider my feelings. If considering your feelings meant letting you to continue to bully a minor, you're right. I never considered it an option for you to continue to bully a minor without consequences. I reiterate, I'll respond properly. No, you fucking won't. You haven't. On my own time. Yeah, whatever. None of this is on your time. You weren't considerate of anyone else's feelings but your own. And to see you talk about me like this when there is yards and buckets and containers of very clear evidence that I had to talk to you because you weren't considering other people's feelings is baffling. We're back to this. I totally love it when people make me the bad person when an adult tells me something that I should have never been told. Not true. Thank you so much for reminding me why I never want to talk to you again. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you either. I don't think it was the best thing to straight up say it, but you did. There's no censored way I can share it than how I already am. That's not true. You legit confirmed what I said too, which means you admit you told me that info. Not all of it. I was fucking 15 to 16. You're 8 years older than me. Yeah, that's correct. I am 8 years older than you. That is correct. What else is correct is that 15 to 16 is, if I'm not mistaken, older than 13. I feel like that should be very clear. It is older than 13. Details of the shared, totally appropriate for 13 and older. Oh, hey. How about the proof that Moon used to call Mids a fucking whore? Because Vesper was a name they used to use. That other people literally said they were uncomfortable. But hey, whatever. When the rose-tinted glasses come off and get torn and stomp on, the once rosy faces garbling at you, forced to stare at the truth. The reality of their being, it kind of hurts to stare. Why did I follow? Why was I devoted? Why did I let them my blood, sweat, and tears? Why, when in the end, they all left me and they didn't try. Maybe they think they did. Maybe they want to believe they tried. I just want to throw out there. I'll continue to read this and then I'll show you the proof. If they had, maybe things would be different. If not in the past, it would be in the present. We did try to reach out to you, Mids, several times. I tried to reach out to you several times, but you were too busy being rose-tinted glasses with Moon that you didn't think for 2 fucking seconds that maybe, just maybe, what Moon's doing to you and had been doing to you was inappropriate. I'm tired of being the last thought, the pushed aside, the thrown out, the discarded. That's not even true. I'm human, living and breathing. I, among others, are still learning and young. True. Despite all this, people still forget we all are human. Being human and making mistakes does not mean you get to not be held accountable. People forget others do bleed and others do feel. That's true. People forget that ones who throw stones in glass houses seem to forget they live in glass. No, I'm currently in a wooden shed, actually. But I'm glad that you can see past that far, far view. I've been beaten far too much, and I'm honestly getting sick of the feeling of wounds, old and new. You did it to yourself. Like, you can't hit yourself with a stick and then say that we caused it. I sadly won't be quiet until I'm finished. After that, I'm moving on, just like always do and always have done. I just want to throw it out there that this entire thing is basically they left me. But, like, I showed this screenshot before, but, like, Pika's the one who told us that, like, you guys were gonna quit. That a bunch of you were in VC. I didn't abandon you. You talked shit behind my back, and I didn't want to continue with a relationship or a friendship in this circumstance that involved of someone who I couldn't trust anymore. You broke my trust. You're right. I left. I left after I realized that there was no helping you. That you didn't want the help, that you didn't care. I left, and I had every right to leave. And somehow, I'm being blamed. You hurt me. And somehow that's my fault? You hurt me, and I walked away. And somehow I'm the villain for finally realizing that I had better self-worth. That we realized we had better self-worth. Tomorrow I'm gonna go unintentionally meet someone. Here's more proof of them meeting up. Oh yeah, so there's this. Right. Goat, you're not gonna like that you're being brought up. I'm sorry. It's just how things have gone. It's how things have to go. It's how the story has to be told. Look, a while back, Goat made a post using the language of, if there's one asshole, or not, it wasn't a post. It was, sorry, let me make a correction. It was sent in DMs personally to me with the intention of it causing me harm. The post, it was a long, several paragraphs of go fuck yourself, concluded by the idea that if everyone's an asshole, that maybe I was an asshole. Conversation idea that I've struggled with a lot with my depression. It's usually something I say before, sorry, you're going to hear me stutter and start to cry because I have to bring this up and I don't like talking about this. But it's something usually I start to say when I start to get suicidal. It's usually an idea that triggers me into a spiral because unfortunately in my life, I've had a lot of really shitty things happen to me. After a certain point, there can't be that many assholes. Yeah, that's a suicide trigger, Moon. And what's really funny is later on you argued that you didn't know what it was. Here it is. Sorry, a little out of order. Deal with that later. You said you didn't know it was a trigger word. They said they had one and they never said what it was. You're accusing me of things I don't understand. Wow, threats of blackmail. Okay, the threats of blackmail was I made a post saying that I had personal information that I never shared and will never share. And they said it was threats of blackmail. No, it's not, because threats of blackmail would be if you don't shut the fuck up, I'm going to send it. No. No, no, no. No, I don't plan on sending it, Moon, because I'm fucking better than you. I am a better goddamn person than a fucking pedophile. Because I am a better person than a fucking little shit who thinks it's totally hunky-dory to post details about someone else's rape publicly. 13 plus or not. Let's talk about the fact that you supposedly didn't know it was a trigger word. Now, I'm not going to show the entirety of the conversation because there's a lot of specific things. But if you want to look right here, this is Moon's DMs. She's gone out of her way to make a jab and use my intrusive thoughts against me. If everyone you meet in a day is an asshole, then you're the asshole, was what she said before she blocked me. She knows that is something I struggle with a lot because I've been around a lot of bad people. I can barely share any of this without it physically hurting because I'm fucking terrorized by my pain of it being used against me. Moon, you knew. You were told, and this was not the first time you were told. This is just the text of when you were told. But I had verbally spoken about it around you several times. And I swear to God, if you start going off about how you have a bad memory, then all that means is you are a fucking unreliable narrator when I have literal screenshots proving otherwise. Either you have a bad memory and don't remember things very often, which is fine, but it means that when you say, oh, this definitely happened, you most likely could be misremembering, or you have a good enough memory to remember when I fuck up, but it's totally gone when you do. Someone I considered a friend used a fucking suicide trigger against me for the second time. And while Goat supposedly apologized, I don't really think it was much of an apology, considering sorry really wasn't said. You can't sit here and say that you didn't fucking know. So hey, here's proof about you talking about taking creep shots of a minor. Here's more talk about you picking shins in public. I'm meeting Moon today. By the way, Destiny is a minor. Moon is an adult. Here's the proof that they met up. Here's more proof they met up. Here's even more proof they met up. So yeah, just by the way, I wanted, okay, we'll get to this. This is more from, to palate cleanse, for my sake. But, because this was after a bunch of posts had been made. So, like, I get this was at me, but I just, no. So Moon met up with a minor, an adult, fed up with a child. I would love to know, because I was told that it was out of context. Please, 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 give me the context. I'd love to know the context that somehow makes a minor meeting up with an adult appropriate. Anyways, I thought this post was kind of funny because it's like, oh, dump a big box of glitter and hope they drop it on their carpet. Yes, please. I like glitter. Hopefully it's, what is it, degradable glitter? Because if it's not, that's just bad for the environment. But otherwise, yeah. I kind of want glitter after all of this, to be honest. But you don't have my address, so you can't send me shit. Oh, yeah, more of them definitely meeting in public. Oh, this. Yeah, this isn't a death threat. This isn't a threat at all. This is just, I wish for worse things to happen to pedophiles. I stand by this statement, yes. I do agree that I wish for bad things to happen to pedophiles. The fact that you disagree with that, interesting. Interesting choice, but the reason I'm showing this is because it was retweeted by Moon. Or reposted. Fuck. I'm trying, chat. I'm trying. Uh, Not the Nazi app. We're gonna talk about that in a little bit too. Oh, here it is. While it's not necessarily a threat, wishing harm upon people in any way, shape, or form isn't acceptable. It is when they're a pedophile. I think that's totally fine, honestly. The fact that you don't agree with that is interesting. Do you think it's not okay to wish harm upon pedophiles? I do. Just interesting wording. Bro, it's so wild to call people Nazis for using a website they still use. Pot calling the kettle black, Lamau. Anyway. Yeah, so, says the motherfucker who threatened minors. Yeah, you constantly wished harm upon minors, and, like, I don't. And you did threaten harm to minors, so it's just interesting. Interesting. Find it wild for people to call people Nazis for using a website they still use. So we're gonna talk about the context of this. One, yes, you are a Nazi for still using Twitter. You are supporting the Nazi agenda, and at this point, you're far more aware of like that. This is very clearly like that you're supporting that by using the platform. Like they make money off of you being there. Um, yes, I still have my accounts up on the platform. I do not use them. They are all completely shut down. I did use one a little while ago, and we're going to talk about that because I absolutely should not have. I was trying to get a hold of Hex because I sent them a letter and they weren't responding. And so I made a thing trying to reach out and being like, hey, things aren't shipping. But like, yeah, it was done in May. And it was one out of several months I had gone on Twitter. So it had like been a while. I made one thing to get a hold of a company and then I stopped going on it. But no, you're totally right. I even made a post talking about the fact that, you know, you're absolutely right. There is no circumstance that this should have been used. It is sad that the Nazi app had to be used to get a hold of a business. I did it. It's done. It's not been used since. I am Jewish. Not using the Nazi app is very important to me. It's important to also be pointed out when I may have made an error. So good that it was pointed out. But no, pot calling the kettle black for constantly using the Nazi app versus me who used it to make one post and hasn't touched it since. No, we're not the same. Nope. Especially since, again, I'm Jewish. That's not to say that, like, that completely erases me from doing things wrong, but, like, maybe when a Jewish person is saying don't use something that supports Nazi propaganda, maybe you should listen. I've noticed a lot of people on Blue Sky seem to have suddenly made this take of like, oh, well, you're actually a bad person for not supporting people using the Nazi app. I can almost guarantee none of those people are Jewish. Because, or at the very least, have family members alive who lived through that time. Because I do. And it's not okay. And it's unacceptable. And I don't know why this has to be said. But this person also made other posts prior. I just wanted to point out that it was really interesting for them to literally screenshot something that proves that I'm correct. I have observed from actual abusers threaten, bully, and make a nightmare for anyone who holds them accountable. Yep, this is what mids in the group have been doing. And ask them to change their abusive behavior. Yes, I did mention the fact that he was sending stuff to minors or interacting with minors inappropriately by playing games with them. And their response was no. So yeah, he does seem to be upset about that. Typically includes threats of lawsuits that can happen, overt and covert attacks on the whistleblower's credibility, and so on. Yes, by them going off about the fact that I may have been a bad person by quote unquote stalking them, that does in fact go out of their way to overtly attack a whistleblower's credibility. Because, fun fact, I'm the whistleblower. What? I know this was meant to be an attack on me, but like, come on. Also, I want to throw it out there. I have in no shape, way, or form interacted with any of their posts directly. I've made passive aggressive posts, but nothing directly. That's stalking. The direct posting, definitely an interesting choice. Definitely not something I've done. Holy shit, that's kind of fucking creepy. I blocked you for a reason. Back off. I did block them after this because I was like, woo, woo. Oh yeah. I just want to go over a thing real quick. Let's see. So this is the 18 plus fandoms, and if we go down a little bit, there's one here called Dead Plate. And it's interesting because Moon actually made a live stream of Dead Plate, and Dead Plate is under his 18 plus stuff. Why is there a minor on that stream, Moon? Why is there a minor on the stream with Dead Plate? Apparently there's 3 streams with you playing this game. Why is there a minor there? Why? It's 18 plus. You literally have learned nothing. Okay, now we get to the stuff I don't want to talk about. Look, I am not proud of the fact that can be very spiteful sometimes. I am proud of the fact that, yeah, I credited you in not a way that you wanted. Suffer. I don't know. I don't. It's still like Cat is still. It's still a proper credit. And you're absolutely right. Changing your name does not make you a different person. So like, using the other one isn't that big of a deal. But I do want to throw out there that a lot of the art using the old credit is actually art I never changed when you changed to GOAT because I already had it posted. Which is, it's fair that you wouldn't know what art had been posted at what time that would have caused that. Like, I do get that. But like, no, I wasn't going to go through everything and change all of it. And there were mistakes that happened anyway. Even if I were to have gone through all of it, I've done it for friends before and they've been like, this one is also, and I'm like, oh, my bad. So like, yeah, you were still credited. I mean, oh yeah, hang on. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Where's the post? We're gonna go a little bit. Hang on. We're gonna bounce around a little bit. But it's interesting that you're mad about me crediting you incorrectly. Because how about we talk about the fact that like Destiny just didn't credit people at all? I mean, they were basically like, "Oh, not all of this was built by me." Then who was it built by? Because I do know some of these places, and they're not yeah, interesting. But I'm the bad person, of course, because I um gave credit to an old username instead of the new current one. But it's totally fine that Morgan just didn't credit Ness and Haru's builds at all. Neat. Cool. Then we go on to the Jerkoon. This is an old screenshot. The name has been changed. I just want to throw it out there that Jerkoons are my species. They've been my species for quite some time. It's really funny that you mentioned that they were uploaded without your consent because they belong to me. So no, I don't need your consent. You gave it to me. The world is the absolute original idea for the species. Interesting, because in fact, I'm pretty sure you said right here, I don't know what to do with it. This is when you gave it to me. You literally said, "I don't know what to do with it." And suddenly you're saying, "This is the original idea." Um, yeah. So, like, just want to throw it out there. I even came up with the name. This is my species. Really not cool that you took that. Um, I mean, the when you change the name, honestly, the species you have, Destiny, is completely different from mine. Um, I don't like have any problem with your new species. It's entirely different from mine. And as long as Jerkoons aren't being taken from what I made and turned into that species, because that is against the species TOS, and can be punished, um, and will. Honestly, I don't care. Like, they look vastly different. I don't know why you made this into some death fight of like, oh well, the original species was made by me, but they uploaded it with our permission. No, no, it's my character. It's my species. I had permission. You gave it to me. You literally said you didn't know what to do for it. I don't know what you want. Just more proof that it was given to me. You even made a reference. Oh, this one's ironic. You don't get to preach about privacy when you invade others. What are you doing every time you look at my post? Kind of seems like you're doing the same thing. God, a lot of this is just going over the same shit. It's just a lot of the same. Uh, it's just a lot of the same stuff. All right. Oh, there's this one. Guys, this one's funny. So Moon apparently was stalking around people. Moon said it was to block people. Um, also, Safe called him a weirdo. And then he immediately made a post saying that we called him a stalker, which isn't what happened. He was called a weirdo. Um, no one called you a stalker. We just said it was weird. And then they were like, "Oh, I wanted to block them. Why are the buttons next to each other?" Let me show you a nice little screenshot of Art Fight. This is the block button. Here's the follow button. It says unfollow for me because I have it selected. But just like those are not in the same place. Now, it's probably a fucking accident, but I more want to point out the fact that you were not called a stalker. You were called a weirdo. Uh, here's Goat talking about stuff with alcohol around a minor. Here's more talk about stuff again around a minor. And I want to point out in that last one, hang on, we're gonna grab that last one actually. That you did in fact even mention that the people who were liking this are in America and under the age of 21. Um, but nothing was said about the fact that you didn't. Nothing. It's like, look. It's just go. Hey, please. I don't listen, Goat. I don't want any issues with you. I don't like you. I want nothing to fucking do with you. You've caused me so much fucking trauma. It's not even funny. When you're hanging around a pedophile, or at least you're interacting with one, you're liking them, you're allowing people who are supporting this pedophile to get commissions from you. You keep coming up, and I want you to go away, please, please, and thank you. Pika posted this. I just want to go over the fact that on my blacklist I have Muka there because that's one of their names. And then you know they made a oh haha I'm gonna commit suicide because you used a name that's literally one of my names. No, No one knows me by that. Cool. It doesn't matter. The whole point of having all of it is to have all your names. That's why you're mad about it still having potato, right? It's not me calling you it. It's just all the names you've gone by in case you make an alt with one of those names. Um. So yeah. Oh yeah, memory problems are fun. Fun fact, I need to check info several times before I can remember anything. I don't remember unless it's constantly brought up, forced into my head via trauma, or generally liked the convo enough to put it in my brain pocket. I don't remember things. Cool. A lot of the group liked this. If you have memory problems, guys, you're not reliable narrators. It's just like I make jokes about not having a great memory because in some situations I don't. But for the most part, I do remember things enough to know things, and you guys talk about not having good memory a lot, and then talk about remembering things that didn't happen. I'm just concerned, honestly. Bunch of the likes. By the way, I'm gonna point this out, um, because I think it's interesting. A lot of my posts, about the situation and stuff have had a lot of likes that are people outside my friend group. Strangers I don't know, not even fans. But I've had random people who don't even follow me like my post. And every time they make a post about something, it's only this like group. It's like Mute, sometimes Day, sometimes Destiny, but it's always this group. And I just like want to throw it out there. Maybe you're creating an echo chamber. Just maybe. Oh, yeah, this. Okay. This is one of those times where things got nitpicky about words. I mentioned that like we shouldn't hide topics like rape because hiding topics that could help people being talked about isn't okay. And I mentioned periods along with like suicide and stuff. Yes, I do believe that periods should be spoken about. And should be a comfortable topic to speak about to those who are 13 and older, maybe even younger, specifically for periods, because I think it's important for kids to be aware of that stuff. Um, the fact that you reacted like this actually kind of proves my point. Um, because that shouldn't be a freak out thing for you to say. Like that shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a freak out moment for me to be like, "Hey, periods should also be talked about." Like alcoholism and suicide and rape, that should be spoken about to children in a way that is safe for them. Um, but no, you're right. Periods. Periods are definitely an interesting thing to put on the list. I do think it's quite interesting, though, that your argument was basic biology being not triggering topics that cause major trauma. So we're going to talk about some trauma real quick. You don't like it, suck it. I don't care. Fun fact: I was not really explained a lot about periods. I was told that I would bleed at a certain age, and that was it. And one year, I went to the cult camp where they refused my medication, and I snuck it in anyways. And I started bleeding, and I fully believed that God was punishing me for bringing my meds. I cried about it a lot. Or how about the fact that I'm trans? Something I think you would understand. And so around that time of year, not year, well, kind of year for me, complicated, but around that time when I start getting the flow, I get really gender dysphoric. Like it literally pains me. Speaking of the physical pain, I get cramps so bad I've had to go to the hospital because I couldn't move. That was severely fucking traumatizing to get pain out of nowhere to the point where you can't move, be standing and then suddenly collapse because everything below you's on fire. But hey, it doesn't cause major trauma, right? Like, it's not really it's not, caused by outside forces. So for example, it's definitely not traumatic for the men in my life to be disgusted by anything sanitary related. so that I had to hide my period or get physically punished. There's no outside trauma from the fact that I thought I was being punished by God for having my period. So I just want to throw it out there. You're wrong. This is just wrong. This is misinformation. Just wrong. There's also other people, because I made a post talking about it, who I won't share because that's theirs to share. But there were numerous people in that post who literally shared the fact that they had trauma from their periods. So I think maybe you might just be wrong. And you are. You are just wrong. Then we go back to the rape, claiming I'm taking their voices of rape victims when the details I was told were PG-13. Yeah, you are taking my voice by trying to say my rape story publicly before I was ready to. That is taking my voice. I'm taking it back. I took it back. I'll say it whenever the damn well I please, and I'll share it as publicly as I fucking want. But I shouldn't have had to. And honestly, you're a shit person for making that happen. I never wanted to publicly say what was said. Yes, you did. Because you said it. If you didn't want to talk about it, why did you say it? But they made a video on the old blacklist of them saying it never happened and calling me a 5-year-old for treating me like a teenager. I felt the need to speak up. I am still a minor. I was called 5 because I was acting like I was 5 for being told PG-13 details for fucking rape. Yeah, we've already talked about that. Already talked about why that's wrong. As SK would like to point out, it is text. The blacklist is written out, so you did have to think about it while you were writing it out. So, yeah. Like, at any point, you could have just changed your mind. I mean, fuck, when I said something publicly, you could have removed it, but you didn't, and have left it up. But hey. The person saying about this to me is 25. Yep. That's correct. I'm so tired of people justifying what they said because of the fact that they are a rape victim. No one's justifying anything. I mean, the thing being justified is the fact that you were shared 13 plus details and you're over the age of 13. Being a rape victim doesn't excuse you telling my tears of your rape period. I was directly told. You were directly told. Well, you weren't directly told. You were in a group of other people, and I was talking to the group. So directly is an interesting word for that. But nope, it is in fact pretty regular for schools to talk about details of rape for the sole purpose of teaching kids. I mean, I wouldn't have even realized it was rape if it wasn't for the fact that somebody told me that, yes, you could actually be raped by your partner. I just thought I just didn't give consent, but because I was his partner, I just had to deal with it. Sorry, I'm needing to take a breather because this is a lot. And we've been going for almost 2 hours now. Back to the Nazis. Hey, yes. Using Twitter does not mean that you're supporting a Nazi unless you pay for Twitter Blue. No, Twitter gets paid in other avenues. Twitter is one of the few places where artists gain traction, and I'm sick and tired of being visualized. Actually, they've shown proof that you get more traction for being on Blue Sky. There's actually a lot of proof of that. Have your own opinions about the Nazi app, but don't push it on others. Opinions? Opinions that the guy who made it did the Nazi salute. That's an opinion? Interesting. Watering down the meaning of the word Nazi. Hi, I'm Jewish. I have people who, in my family, who are still alive, by the way, who still have their concentration camp tattoos. The numbers. Because they were, given serial numbers. And those camps, because we weren't people, we were cattle. I think I know the meaning of the word Nazi. I think I know a Nazi when I see one doing a salute. I think think I know the understanding of a Nazi when they literally have an AI who's been going off the hinges about being a Nazi and wanting to be Mecha Hitler. How about if you see someone using Twitter, block, and move on? Yeah, but I'm still going to talk about it. I'm still going to be like, hey, this is wrong. Because that's what you do. You say, hey, this is an incorrect thing for you to do. Call the shit out. Oh yeah, I made a post about, being like, yeah, well, they get paid from ads. And then Pika was like, I love my ad blocker. And I made another post, and I want to say this here. The way that the ads are monetized is not based off of actually whether you see it. It kind of is. What you're thinking of is the click rate monetization, where somebody clicks on an ad, goes through it, and then they get paid extra for that, which an ad blocker would maybe help with. Some ad blockers will still give the monetization, especially ones that are meant to be friendly for YouTubers and stuff. But actually, the main reason they get their revenue is people pay ahead of time for their ads to be on the platform. And that money is dependent on how much foot traffic the site gets. So if you use the site, you click on it and look through it, you're giving the site foot traffic, and so therefore you're giving the Nazi app money. Deactivated my Nazi app because I can't stand the bitching. Good. I'm glad that you decided to deactivate the Nazi app. I don't support Nazis. You were. Who told you that? Did I tell you that? Yeah, kinda. If I didn't say it, then obviously I don't support it. That's not how that works. If no, I think we've learned enough to know that that's not how that works. And oh yeah, there's another suicide joke. Which is cool. Great. Awesome. And yes, I know you made a little post being like, I have you blocked. So if you don't like my suicide jokes, fuck off. No, it just goes to show that you're just a teenager that thinks that making suicide jokes are funny. Like, honestly, okay, sure. You think that's funny? Cool. Whatever. Like, you're trying to be way edgier than you need to be. But, oh yeah, this was talking about the credit issue. Credit to the old handle was intentionally given to my handle prior to the change of the art being uploaded. PC was aware of my Toy House account prior to art issues, and has been able to properly credit art before. Yeah, I did. I did properly credit some art before I deleted it, removed it from my Toy House because I didn't want your art on there. I didn't get to all of it. There was some I forgot, so I had to go through and fix some. But I think I've primarily fixed all of it. Most of it should be deleted by now. PC it was aware of my Toy House account prior to our issues. Actually, no. I was not. We actually I had a conversation with someone where I was really fucking pissed because I found out Goat had an account after we had issues. And I had talked to them about giving them a code prior, and I was just kind of like, dude, I would have given you a code, but okay, whatever. So it's just a little ironic that no, I wasn't aware of your Toy House account before because you would wanted one, I would have given a code, but I digress. Adopt donated. Base was credited to me despite all the other adopts. The base being credited to my old handle. This one was correctly credited at the time of the donation to the shelter. Yeah, because some of them I did go through and donate correctly. But I didn't get to all of them because tickets open to get proper credit on 3 of the adopts. This is correct. Tickets were made. These tickets don't prove that anything actually happened or that I was punished in any way. It's just that she made tickets, or he made tickets. I have definitely fucked that up a few times. This is just proof that like they definitely spoke to me, and they did. Don't have to share that, but yeah, they did talk to me. I explained some things, and it was kind of like cool. Whatever. So yeah, and then after they had talked to me, the admin was basically like, "Look, um, I don't really know how you feel about all this and stuff." And I was like, I I explained some things to him. We had a conversation back and forth. I changed the bases that were used. And by change the bases, I mean my friend Flair literally just redid the art. So nope, I didn't touch those bases, and those bases weren't made by me, and I sure as hell had no hand in drawing it. It was entirely drawn by Flair. I don't know what he wanted in this. If he wanted me to like give him credit for art that wasn't his, I'm confused. But yeah, no, obviously the other like things weren't changed because not my problem. Same creditor, but the new base and artist credit. Yep, I new art was made for the characters and I changed it. I don't know what you want there. Yep, this is proof that the original base was used and then it was changed. Don't know what you want there, but all right. Oh yeah. Part of my AU and characters based on encouragement from PC. SK didn't report it. That just didn't happen. You have no proof that that happened. I'd love to see proof because it didn't. Because SK didn't do nothing to you.
I did nothing but look.
Oh yeah, and the flickers thing is kind of funny. Uh, they blame it on the action of close friend's boyfriend, with the close friend has no control over their boyfriends because their boyfriend is their own person. Yeah, but you're dating them, so like, no, you don't have control over them. But then you stop being their boyfriend. Like the fact that you continue dating kind of leads to believe that you kind of believe in some things. But hey, let's talk about Mute. Hey, Mute. Hi. I haven't had any reason to talk about you. Why do you have a character shift with a minor? You're an adult, I imagine. So what is this? I did think it just had to strictly do with like actual characters, but no, this is like a character of yours, and this is a character of his. Cause yeah, apparently this is being excused as well. They're ace. Mute. I look, look. I get it. Trauma can do some awful things to the brain, but like Tater literally argued that they were ace, and so it was fine for them to do these things. Why do you think two of the characters being ace would suddenly make it okay for them to be in a relationship? Like, just a thought. That's still weird. Uh, Just more people seeing and thinking this is cool. Oh yeah, Moon's talking raccoon on Blue Sky. Yeah, that was the thing. Uh, Not cool. Oh, here's Moon having a character shipped with Day, and here's Moon posting evidence of them having a role play where these two are in a relationship, and I assume flirting. I think that's just an interesting thing to post publicly. I want to point this out. This was made after I made the post about it being creepy that an adult and a minor met up. Destiny, all I'm gonna say to you is, look, I get that you're like, if I say no interactions, I don't want you talking about me. You can't post publicly that you met up with an adult as a minor and it not be talked about. You posted it publicly. And now your response to that is not, oh, well, there's actually this really good reason. Your response is just, oh, don't talk about that. No. Ugh. I want to scream. Almost done. So there's this. Wild to me that you're blowing this out of proportion. A matter you legit don't have any context for. Please give me the context of when and how it is appropriate for an adult to have character shift with minors and an adult to meet up with a minor. Quite a few of us are minors. You're a grown adult. Yeah, thanks for noticing. I don't know what that detail has anything to do with any of this. Again, you brought up stalking. Just want to throw it out that you're still watching my stuff, so I don't know. Block evading doesn't make you look cool or make you look like a protector. It makes you look like a stalker. It's definitely a problem to stalk the socials of minors. Just want to throw it out there that again, you've definitely been watching minors accounts because definitely comments were made off of two of the minors that have made posts. So, nope, it's definitely happened on my side as well. I don't know what you want from me. You can't do the same thing. Like, it's a hypocrite. You can't claim that you should be allowed to ban evade, but we have to stop. Like, I'm not going to argue this. You are also wrong. If I am wrong, you're wrong too. So, two wrongs don't suddenly make you correct for doing it. Like, I don't. Whatever. Piss off and leave us alone. No. No, I don't think I'm gonna stop, actually. I think in the same way that I was willing to call Star out continuously while she was being a fucking creep towards minors, I'm going to do the same. And if you don't like that, maybe, just maybe, don't be friends with a pedophile. Just a thought. Get a life that doesn't involve sticking your nose into ours. How about you get a job? Or any of you get a job? Because, like, I'm gonna be honest, this is my job. To sit here and make goofy, silly videos and then to help people as much as possible. That is my job. Me pointing this out is literally my job. So, like, I don't know. Maybe the rest of you should get a job. Like, maybe it would help you stop being a fucking creep towards minors. In Moon's scenario. And in your case, maybe, God. Maybe if you got outside a little bit more, you might actually see what's happening to you. Because you just don't. All of this being said by the minor who's being groomed. And then more of this. Have people forgotten to mind their own business? Like, oh no, you see one thing, a little piece of a full puzzle, and suddenly you make theories and rumors solely based on that one piece. I see several posts made about Moon, an adult, meeting up with a minor. Please tell me what full puzzle there could be that would make that not creepy and weird. This isn't theories. This isn't rumors. This isn't speculation. It's not assuming. This is facts. This isn't blowing out of proportion. An adult met up with a minor. There's no context that makes that appropriate. Oh, yeah. And Zero has a character shipped with Destiny, which is, I believe Zero is an adult. I'm not 100% sure on that. I am fine for correction on that one. But I just want to look. Get it. I get it. I do. As a pedophile, it must be really hard to stay away from children for you. But maybe you just should. Maybe it would just be better for everyone if you just stayed away from children. I just, like, you can't. There's so much evidence and so much proof, and you sit here and you're just, well, I'm not being given all of it on a silver platter. No. I don't have to. I don't have to give you a script of exactly what you need to apologize for. And digging yourself into a further grave of, well, I didn't really do that. Well, it's out of context. None of that is taking accountability. None of that is actually proving that you're wrong. All it's doing is showing that you're a shit person who thinks that me being a shit person won't change will change the fact that you did something wrong, and that's not how it works. Even if I'm a bad person, you still sent a minor 18 plus content, and there is nothing I can or could have done that will change that fact. I need a break or I'm going to lose my mind. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all have a awesome day. God, why can't people just be better?